Good evening. Welcome to our regular meeting of the St. Mary Parish School Board, February 5th, 2026, 5:30 p.m. in the Evan Medine Meeting Room. Dr. Sanders, please call roll.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Brent? Here. Dr. Wilson? Mrs. Anselm?
Present.
Ms. Jones? Here. Mrs. Griffin? Here. Ms. LaSalle? Mr. Guillory? Here. Mr. Parody? Here. Mr. Mancuso? Here. Mrs. Dennis? Here. Mrs. Black?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. If you are able to, please stand for the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening, everyone. Would you please bow your heads for a moment of prayer? Father God, we come before your holy presence with thanksgiving and praise for all of your bountiful blessings that you continue to bestow upon us and our families. Secondly, we thank you for giving your divine wisdom and understanding to Dr. Sanders, Ms. Black, and all of our other school board members as they effectively discuss and make decisions tonight. Finally, we thank you in advance for keeping our schools and everyone associated as safe as possible. In closing, we thank you for blessing and protecting our parish, our state, and most importantly, Father, thank you for continuing to bless and protect our United States of America. We ask these blessings in your name, in the name of Jesus, amen.
All right. Thank everyone for coming tonight. First is our introduction of students and employees of the month. First up, Berwick Junior High School.
Good evening. Tonight, first, I have our Student of the Year, Mr. Hank Perkle. Hank is very active on our campus. He currently serves as our Student Council President and is also in our Beta Club. He is a member of our football, baseball, and quiz bowl teams. He participates in all these clubs, organizations, and teams, all while maintaining a 4.0 GPA. He is a leader on our campus and a true example of doing the right thing with the right attitude. I'm proud to introduce to you not only Berwick Junior High and St. Mary Parish's Middle School Student of the Year, but also a Region 3 Student of the Year honoree, Mr. Hank Perkle. I'll change it up. Next, we have our Employee of the Month, Mr. Jawan Landry. Mr. Landry works as a para and our ISS facilitator. He has been at BJHS for 2 years now. Before coming to BJHS, Mr. Landry served in the United States Marine Corps for 8 years. Mr. Landry is always willing to help out wherever it is needed. Along with his everyday duties, Mr. Landry always is offering assistance to tutor students, chaperoning dances, and has even started a color guard at BJHS. We're very fortunate to have Mr. Landry on our campus each day. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Jawan Landry.
Mr. Taylor, are there families here, Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Can their families stand up and get a little bit of
Will
applause?
Mr. Hank Perkle's parents please stand? And rest of it, and other family members, and as well as Mr. Landry's.
All right. Next up, J.B. Maitland Elementary School.
Speaker. Okay.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity to recognize Julia B. Maitland, Student and Employee of the Month. Ladies and gentlemen, Maitland Student of the Month is Elizabeth Barron. She is accompanied by her mother, Carly, and brother, Alan. Y'all can stand. Elizabeth is Maitland's 5th grade Student of the Year. She is an honor roll student, is in talented visual arts program, and is a leader among her peers as an active member of Beta, band, drama, and 4-H. She has scored all advanced in all 4 subjects in 3rd and 4th grade on the LEAP through hard work and dedication. She has not yet decided her career path, but she still has plenty of time to make that important decision. Teachers at Maitland say that she is jovial and a spirited young lady who has an unmatched love for reading. Every time there's a spare moment, her nose is in a book. Her alternate teacher even brags on how she is always helpful and well behaved. Elizabeth has an eagerness to learn. She plays the flute beautifully and is a great example to her peers. She is such a joy to teach. Thank you, Elizabeth, for being such an awesome person and a student. I know more great things are yet to come. I'm pleased to introduce Julia B. Maitland's Employee of the Month, Chelsea Marceau. She is accompanied today by Drake Lajani and her 2 children, Langston and Lennox. Ms. Marceau is currently our kindergarten through 2nd grade special education teacher for the last 4 years. She has earned her Bachelor's of Science in Human Resource Management at Nicholls State University and later earned an alternate teaching certificate through iTeach. She is currently working towards her master's degree through St. Mary Parish Cohort for Educational Leadership. She leads in many capacities at our school through sponsoring our Kindness Club, coordinating Fall Fest, leading the Neurodiversity Month, and a member of our emergency operation team. She also teaches after-school tutoring, summer school, and she is always willing to find new strategies to ensure her students are learning. Her focus is on proving to give our students their very best. Ms. Marceau's colleagues describe her as having a kind and gentle spirit matched perfectly to the needs of her students. She is very understanding and patient. She is knowledgeable and never gets frustrated when her colleagues ask a lot of questions. Her calling is truly working with students in special education and has found her home at Maitland. Although we are thankful you feel that this is an honor to be named Maitland's Teacher of the Year and Employee of the Month, it is our honor to stand beside you during this time. Thank you, Ms. Marceau, for being such an inspiration to our students, faculty, and staff at Julia B. Maitland.
All right, and last but certainly not least, Morgan City High School.
Good evening. Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm going to start with our Student of the Month, and Morgan City High School's Student of the Month is also our District High School Student of the Year. She also interviewed today for her, correct me if I'm wrong, regional round of interviews. So there's a lot that I can say about Lily, but I'll try to keep it short. She truly embodies the excellence, talent, and heart of Morgan City High School. She's an exceptional scholar with a 31 on the ACT. She demonstrates academic excellence while actively participating in our gifted program and excelling in talented art, theater, and music, just to name a few. She's a dedicated cheerleader, proud member of Beta, Tiger Ambassador, and a committed athlete competing in both cross country and soccer while also representing our school through pageantry. Beyond her impressive list of accomplishments, Lily stands out for her kindness, authenticity, optimism, and empathy towards others. She's driven to succeed while lifting up those around her, serving as a shining example of leadership and character. We are incredibly proud to recognize Ms. Lily Viator as our Student of the Month and celebrate the positive impact she continues to make on our school community. She's accompanied by her mom tonight, Miss Marie, and her dad, I'm assuming, can't be here because our boys' soccer team, which he coaches, has a playoff game starting at 7 o'clock, so I'm sure they're both eager to get there. But Miss Lily Viator, I proudly present as our Student of the Month. And Mrs. Megan McCullough is our Employee of the Month. She is here tonight with her husband, Jimmy, and her son, Elijah, who also attends Morgan City High School. And Mrs. McCullough exemplifies the dedication, leadership, and excellence that define Morgan City High School. As our Teacher of the Year and Employee of the Month, she's made a lasting impact through her unwavering commitment to students and the school community. Throughout her time at Morgan City High School, she served in numerous leadership roles, including, but not limited to, Key Club sponsor, Tiger Ambassador sponsor, Student Council sponsor, and SBLC chairperson, each reflecting her passion for developing student leaders and strengthening school culture. In the classroom, her love for literature inspires meaningful learning experiences, while her exceptional organization, data-driven instructional approach, and steadfast reliability consistently lead to strong student outcomes. Mrs. McCullough's professionalism, heart for students, and commitment to excellence make her an invaluable member of our faculty and a true source of Tiger pride for Morgan City High School. Mrs. Megan McCullough, our Employee of the Month and Teacher of the Year.
All right, next, under appearances, recognition of District Principal of the Year.
Good evening. I am proud to stand before you and recognize Mrs. Lauren Rentrope, St. Mary Parish Principal of the Year. She is joined with her parents, her husband, and I know one of her daughters. If y'all stand to be recognized. She was selected as Principal of the Year for many reasons, but just to name a few. She began at Patterson Junior High, and the school was in UIR. So instead of viewing this as an obstacle, she saw it as an opportunity to rebuild and move Patterson Junior High forward. Under her leadership, they have grown academically, strengthened the school culture, and restored confidence in what Patterson Junior High was always meant to be. She has worked intentionally to build a positive climate and culture, and that the work is evident the moment you step onto the campus. In her own words, Rome was not built in a day, yet she has shown up day after day, through the hard times and the good, through the smiles and the tears, leading with determination and purpose. Mrs. Rentrope never asks anyone to do anything she would not do herself. She connects with the students and supports the teachers. She does not shy away from difficult conversations and consistently makes decisions rooted in what is right and what is best for the campus. Lastly, every morning, no matter what the day brings, she reminds everyone it's another great day at Patterson Junior High. Ladies and gentlemen, Mrs. Lauren Rentrope.
All right, next, our 2026 National Recognizing Inspiring School Employees Rise Award honoree. Ooh, that's a mouthful. Miss Esther.
Okay, many of you may remember when we recognized Mrs. Wagner for support employee for St. Mary Parish. Then she went on to the state and she won at the state level. And then she also was nominated by the state of Louisiana to compete in the national level. At the national level, they had 20 states that submitted 36 names. Out of those 36 names, Mrs. Wagner was top in the nation.
Thank you, thank you.
I don't know about her, but this was a great experience, I know for Mrs. Cole and myself. And she was also invited to eat breakfast with the United States Secretary of Education. So that was a great experience. Mrs. Wagner has dedicated 27 years to the education, support, and goes beyond her custodial duties. She volunteers for bus duty. She ensures that every child begins their day with a smile and is very positive. She guides the young boys through the Boys in Bow Ties program, fostering leadership, honor, and self-confidence. She manages the school uniform closet, providing students with uniforms, shoes, socks, backpacks, ensuring readiness for learning. She serves seniors through the local outreach, delivering companionship, support, and joy to nursing home residents. And she is recognized by her colleagues, administrators, parents, and students as the heart of the school, inspiring excellence, kindness, and positive culture. Secretary of State, Mrs. Lennon McCannon, says, "It was a joy to learn about Ms. Wagner's dedication, not only to Raintree Elementary, where she greets every student with a smile, but also her entire Baldwin community. We are very proud to honor and recognize her as the 2026 National Rise Award honoree. It was well deserved." From Governor Jeff Landry, Donella Wagner is the epitome of what it means to be a good leader. For over 27 years, she served in a variety of roles, never seeking praise, only seeking to make an impact on her community. We are grateful for Ms. Donella's commitment and service to children, and we are proud to call her a Louisiana's own. Superintendent Kay Brumley Support staff are the backbone of our schools, and we are proud of Donella Wagner for shining a light on our state. She is the proof of excellence that exists at every level of Louisiana education. Mrs. Wagner, as I said, was one of 36. Each state was able to nominate 2, and our state chose to nominate 1 because after they reviewed Mrs. Wagner's information, they knew they did not have anyone else that would compare. This has been a great honor to walk with her and Mrs. Cole through this whole process. I know she has the school decorated over the holidays when everyone's taking their vacation time. She took down all of the Christmas decorations, and she put up the Mardi Gras decorations. And she does this for every season. I know you said for Christmas you wanted to have your theme as the Scrooge. Yeah. So Mrs. Cole has your ornament to start your season. That's your Grinch hand, and you can hang ornaments or whatever you want to do with it, but that is for you to decorate. Y'all join me in.
Miss Este, I think it's important for everybody to know that in a matter of a day, maybe, we had to scatter to have this surprise event for Miss Wagner at her school. We couldn't tell anyone, so it was hard to plan. The national was saying we can't do this because we had to wait until they did that. Then we had to wait on the state. So it was all this rigmarole to get it ready, right? So we have a surprise for Miss Wagner. So guess who had who decorated for her own surprise? Because when she heard that national was coming and state was coming and all that, well, guess what she did? What she does best, right? Raintree was so beautiful, and I was like, tell me Miss Wagner did not.
And I also want her family and her school family that has joined her tonight to stand up and be recognized.
Wow, what an honor. Next, we do not have an amended agenda. Following that, approval of the official school board minutes from our regular meeting on January 8th, 2026. Dr. Wilson makes a motion to approve. Ms. Brent seconds. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the consent agenda items. The items preceded with an asterisk will constitute the consent agenda, with board members being able to remove any item so desired. All remaining items will constitute the finalized consent agenda and be voted on all together. Dr. Sanders, please read the items on the consent agenda.
Yes, ma'am. Permission to advertise for bids. A, Child Nutrition Department items: produce, milk, juice, frozen foods, dry and canned foods, paper and cleaning supplies, small equipment, and large equipment. And that's the entire consent.
All right, Ms. Griffin makes a motion to approve. Mr. Mancuso seconds it. Any discussions or questions? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, under personnel, approval of the instructional calendar for the 2026-2027 school year. Ms. Esty?
Okay, two calendars were developed by the instructional team and Dr. Sanders' input. They were sent to the faculty and staff to vote. And the calendar you have in your book, which was option A, was what teachers and staff had voted for. The difference in the two were February, which is Mardi Gras. They chose to take the entire week off for Mardi Gras and then work the 2 days in May at the end without students. That way they can get things closed up and get ready for summer school and the things that they need for there. Do y'all have any questions?
What are the wishes of the board? Ms. Dennis makes a motion to approve the instructional calendar. Ms. Jones seconds it. Any questions or discussion? Anything from the audience? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Business affairs. Receive updates regarding industrial tax exemption for Orion Engineered Carbons LLC, Gravois Aluminum Boats LLC, and Burla Carbon USA Incorporated. Mr. Evan Boudreau, Director of St. Mary Economic Development.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this is more, I guess, informational than anything. So as you guys are familiar with, in the previous administration, the way ITEP applications or non-compliance would work would each independent government body would receive the application and they would decide unilaterally, does that entity approve the tax exemption? Well, when Governor Landry came in, he issued an executive order that changed the process. So now the independent bodies, so parish government, the sheriff, school board, and any municipality, they'll no longer receive the applications themselves. What will happen now is it'll go to a committee made up of a representative of each of those bodies to approve whether or not to approve or deny the ITEP application. The caveat is it used to be if each independent body would approve or deny, it would be approved or denied for that entity alone. Now, the board as a whole approves or denies for everybody. So if the board, this local ITEP committee approves the ITEP exemption, the exemption applies to the school board as well as whoever else approves it. Also, if the committee would deny it, the governor has the authority to basically go against whatever the local committee's recommendation is. So if the board, local committee denies, or denies the ITEP application, and the governor wants to approve it, well then it's approved, and it'll apply for the same stipulation, a 10-year period, 80% abatement, 20% collection. I believe earlier this year or late last year, when the change was made and the rules were formalized, I came before the board and asked for a resolution to be approved, appointing the superintendent as the school board's representative on the committee with the school board president as the alternate. So we've had only one local ITEP committee meeting since these changes have happened for a new ITEP application for Orion Carbon Black, which was approved by the local ITEP committee. So any questions, discussion?
Do you know what the approval or denial on Gravia aluminum boats was?
So that one was, we received that one after the local ITEP committee met, but I do believe that ITEP was for a previous year after the school board already recommended to terminate the ITEP contract, which the Commerce and Industry Board did approve to terminate it or prematurely. So that ITEP agreement, I think, is actually ended. And now that Metal Shark has been purchased by another company, the acquisition changes. I don't think there's really anything that this the non-compliance would really have any impact at all.
That's kind of what I wanted to know, because I knew, it was purchased. And did we or did we not, they got a pretty large contract from the Department of Justice to build some pretty big boats, I do believe, in this area. Do you
Yes,
know
ma'am.
what the amount is?
I believe it was 400 million, but I could be wrong. But I believe that's what it was.
That sounds absolutely wonderful to me for our
Absolutely.
parish. Good
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm
job,
excited, and I will say
stimulating our
that
economy.
with this acquisition, I have spoken with the new company leadership, and they are planning a pretty substantial expansion for both facilities in one in St. Mary and one in Iberia Parish. So I'm not privy to say what those are, but I will say it's going to be a pretty impressive project.
I would like if you would put in a good word, and maybe they could look at taking some students from St. Mary Parish schools around and teaching them a
Absolutely.
few things.
Oh,
You
of
could
course.
do that for us.
Of
Pat?
course, absolutely.
We'd really appreciate it.
No,
I
absolutely.
would love to come along.
Yes, I think really just having the school board and our educators involved with our business community is just, it kind of creates a whole pipeline of workforce development that really attracts companies to make more investments in St. Mary.
Absolutely. I appreciate all the work that you've done. You've done a phenomenal job. I'm very proud of you and for understanding the relationship between the school board and our parish, as we are one of the largest employers in St. Mary Parish. So we also stimulate the economy.
You are the largest employer, actually, the largest
We are.
employer.
So I appreciate your knowledge of that and working well with us and all the work that you're doing in our community. It does not go unrecognized.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I will say that, I'm a product of St. Mary Parish Public Schools, and I think it's only fair to give back and enhance that, as much as I can. So thank you.
Any other questions or comments for Mr. Boudreaux? All right. Well, if that's it. We thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. Number 2, approve school board member training resolution for the year 2025, reflecting each member of the St. Mary Parish School Board for receiving a minimum of 6 hours of training and instruction as required by Act 705 of the 2011 Louisiana Legislature. Lindsay Anselm, Elena Black, Gwenzy Brent, Rhonda Dennis, Ginger Griffin, Lawrence Guillory, Deborah Jones, Marilyn LaSalle, Andrew Mancuso, Chad Parody, and Dr. Tammy Wilson. Do I have to read the resolution? All right, hang on. Let me get to it. All right, the resolution, whereas each member of a city and parish school board shall receive a minimum of 6 hours of training and instruction as required by Act 705 of the 2011 Louisiana Legislature, and whereas the training and instruction shall consist of school laws of this state, laws governing the powers, duties, and responsibilities of city and parish school boards, educational trends, research, and policy, and whereas each instruction may be received from an institution of higher education in this state from instruction sponsored by the State Department of Education or by an in-service training program conducted by a city or parish school board, central office, or the Louisiana School Boards Association, or training provided at the national level, and whereas each member of a city and parish board shall receive 1 hour of ethics training per year of their tenure as board member. Now, therefore, be it resolved that it become public record that Lindsay Anselm, Elena Black, Gwenzy Brent, Rhonda Dennis, Ginger Griffin, Lawrence Guillory, Deborah Jones, Marilyn LaSalle, Andrew Mancuso, Chad Parody, and Tammy Wilson, certificate issued under former name Tammy Moore, members of the St. Mary Parish School Board have successfully received and exceeded the 6 hours of training, required training as mandated by the Legislature of Louisiana, and all board members have fulfilled the mandate of 1 hour of ethics training for the year 2025. Do I get a motion? Dr. Wilson makes a motion to approve. Ms. Brent seconds it. Any questions or discussion from the board members, from the audience? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. No, right here. All right, let's see. We had some really outstanding board members, so we are recognizing and honoring board members for achieving certified school board member designation that voluntarily earned 20 or more LSBA-approved training hours during the 2025 calendar year. Before I read all that, do we have to do, okay, no resolution. They are Lindsay Anslem, Rhonda Dennis, Gwenzy Brent, Dr. Tammy Wilson. Congratulations to all of our school board members. I didn't miss one, huh? No, all right. Next, award bid for tilt skillet braising pan at Franklin Senior High School, Franklin Junior High School cafeteria. Ms. Brown.
Good evening. I request approval to award the bid to Singer H&R for the purchase and installation of a tilt skillet braising pan for Franklin High School cafeteria in the amount of $23,360.
All right. What fund does that come out of? School food service. All right, thank you very much. What are the wishes of the board? Ms. Ansel makes a motion to approve. Dr. Wilson seconded it. Any questions or discussion from the audience? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, discussion and/or action concerning the superintendent selection process. At this time, we have a vacancy for our superintendent spot with the resignation and retirement of Dr. Fagenbush. That contract had ended. We did not have to pay out that contract. So as of right now, Dr. Sanders is our interim superintendent, and we have this item, and what are the wishes of our board? Mr. Parity.
I'll make a motion for us to move forward with the selection process.
All right, Mr. Parity makes that motion. Dr. Wilson seconds it. Any questions or discussion from the board?
Yes, board members. Gotten a few calls recently just questioning, okay, what are our next steps? What's the next steps in the process? For those of you who were on the board 3 years ago, basically it's essentially the same process. The basic statutory requirements start with a publish of a notice of vacancy and a request for applications. So that's essentially your public notice that, we do have an opening, we're looking for qualified candidates. The default minimum advertising requirements for that notice of vacancy and request for applications is you have to advertise in your official journal 2 times within 1 week apart. You also are required to advertise in a larger market, which the statute defines as essentially any municipality with a population greater than 100,000 people, whichever one is nearest to you, which would be Lafayette. And those are essentially your baseline advertising requirements. Now, what we recommend, and I think what this board did the last time, is you probably want to try to cast a little bit larger net. So we always recommend you also advertise in the Baton Rouge Advocate, the New Orleans paper. You also send your notices to LDOE, which will help get that out for you, as well as LSBA, School Boards Association, and the Association. The Louisiana School Superintendents Association. So we already have some ads for you, and more than likely, I think probably the same ads we provided for you last time. Those ads do, of course, they have a expected salary range, and I just pulled yours up while we were in the meeting here from last time. last time you advertised, you had a range of $120,000 to $140,000 per year. Now, that's just a range, that doesn't mean you can go lower, you can go higher, but that's just to give qualified candidates, just some idea about, what the board's mindset is at this particular point in time. Obviously, it would always depend on your candidate pool. The next thing that we would recommend is, once your ads hit the market, hit the newspapers, we always suggest that the board take out a temporary post office box. And it's a P.O. box just for a limited limited duration of time, and that box serves one purpose, and that's for your applications to be submitted to that box. What that does is it kind of maintains confidentiality, that nobody knows who else has applied, which sometimes that affects your candidate pool or not. And that box is not checked at all until after the closing of the advertising period. So essentially, once your advertising period is closed, usually it's the board president and vice president, they together go check the P.O. box and retrieve the applications. After those applications are retrieved by the president and vice president, what we normally suggest is we bring in an HR director from another parish who comes in and reviews the applications to determine whether these individuals are legally legally qualified for the positions. And what that does is it prevents anybody within your school system from having to make a call that, depending on what the ultimate result would be, that, might create issues one way or the other. And one of the things that they're looking at, and what we've always put in the advertisements, is that we want your applicants to either have a superintendent's certificate, be already certified in Louisiana to be a school superintendent, or have a statement, a letter from LDOE, which states that they are qualified to receive a superintendent certificate upon being hired as a superintendent. And what that does is eliminate some problems we've had in the past where, somebody looks good on paper, you interview them, and you get all the way down the road, and, sometimes a lot of times it's an out-of-state person, and it gets to the point where you're ready to hire them, and they are hired, and you find out there's some issue, and they can't get their Louisiana superintendent's certificate. And essentially, that you got to go through the whole process all over again at that point in time. So that's one of the requirements we always put in the advertisements. So again, usually that application period is about 30 days after that first application hits the media. And then, from there, it kind of, the applications would determine what's your next steps. We never recommend that you plan beyond the receipt of your applications, because the number of your applications will always determine what the board's next steps are. So for example, if you advertise and you get 30 applications, you're not gonna interview 30 people. So then you have to come up with a process on how to limit those 30 applications to something more meaningful in terms of who you want to interview or not interview. If you get 3 applicants, for example, well, the decision becomes a little bit easier. It's like, okay, we can go ahead and interview all 3 of them. It's not a big deal. That's not going to be a big effort. So essentially, that's kind of the process. Again, it's the same basic process that occurred last time, and the same process we've done for many of our other districts. We found that it's worked well. But essentially, those would be your next steps. Any questions?
So right now, we have a motion on the floor to start the process. Do we need to go ahead with that vote and then do a separate motion for?
If somebody wants to amend, if the board is satisfied with kind of what we recommended, if somebody wants to amend the motion to proceed with the process as recommended by legal counsel, then I think that then gives us the marching orders to proceed.
Okay, wait, and before we do that, so the one thing too to consider is the last range was 120,000 to 140,000. Would we continue that, or would we look at maybe increasing it a little bit to that would be a part of that motion as well, if we would keep it with the same salary range, or consider? Well, on our last contract, we were paying 145. So it would like leave it for the, it was whatever the board would like to do. You gotta figure,
I'll make a motion for us to move forward with the select, with the process for, selecting a new superintendent based on the recommendations from Haines and Sills.
with the current range.
With the current range currently in the paperwork that they have prepared for us.
Okay, and you're gonna continue your second, and Dr. Wilson seconds that. Any questions or discussion from the audience? Any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And board members, we'll keep you apprised of the process. You know, sometimes the newspapers aren't everyday newspapers, so, you know, kind of working that newspaper calendar as well. You know, sometimes they may only, I don't know if your journal is maybe once a week. So obviously that kind of affects how the advertisements are run and how that period. So, you know, we'll keep you updated. We'll get the ads ready. You know, we'll start working the calendar to kind of give you an idea about, okay, this is around the time frame where that advertising period would come to an end. You know, maybe the board president and vice president will pick a date, I guess, where they can both be together after the advertising period, after the deadline to submit applications have closed. And, you know, then from there, it'll just be you know, if that time period falls then close to a regular meeting, you know, it's something that you could take up at the regular meeting in terms of determining your next steps. Or if for some reason, you know, it falls right after your a regular meeting, then maybe it's something, you know, you have a special meeting just for that one quick item in terms of, you know, what your next steps would be in terms of interviews.
So just to be clear, this process start like tomorrow?
Well, probably maybe next week. We'll get the ads ready next week, and then we'll have to get some information on your official journal once a week on a Sunday. Okay, so maybe then next Sunday would be the first in your official journal. Yeah.
All right, anything else before we move on? Did we vote? Yeah, I'm like, okay, I thought so. Oh, you threw me. Yeah, I thought so. I tell you, I had me second guessing myself. All right, committee reports. The policy committee met on January 21st, 2026 at 4:00 p.m. in the Evan Medine Meeting Room at the Central Office Complex in Centerville, Louisiana to review and make recommendations regarding the following policies. Mr. Mancuso.
All right, thank you, Madam President. Policy Review Committee met to make the recommendations regarding the listed policies. I apologize in advance for the length of this report. We had a lot of topics to cover. Proposed policy revisions were to account for board procedure changes, federal policy changes, legislative changes, and/or Louisiana Department of Education requirements. As discussed at our January regular meeting, the meeting date was recommended to change to alleviate scheduling conflicts for our legal team because of the change to the meeting schedule. 3 policies needed to be aligned with the board's decision from last month's meeting. I would like to address these 3 policies in globo. Policy BC, school board meetings, is being recommended to replace the word second with the word first to account for the meeting date change. Additionally, the time of 5:30 is being added to that sentence. And look, I'm going to go through these. Just stop me if you have any questions. The time of 5:30 is being added to that policy as well. This clarifies that regular meetings will typically be held the first Thursday of the month at 5:30 p.m. Also, a new paragraph is going to be added to account for special meetings. Based on these revisions to policy BC, the need for policies BCAB, regular and special meetings, and BCBA, time and place, are no longer needed. It is a recommendation of the Policy Committee to revise Policy BC, school board meetings as discussed, and repeal policies BCAB, regular and special meetings, and BCBA, time and place. I'd like to put that recommendation in the form of motion at this time.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Mancuso, a second by Ms. Brent. Any questions or discussion from the audience? All those in favor say aye.
No.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, policy BCBB, notification of school board meetings, incorporates clarifications originating from Act 374. The requirement for school boards to notify the Commissioner of Administration has been removed, and this proposed policy incorporates that change. It is a recommendation of the Policy Review Committee to revise policy BCBB, removing this requirement. I'd like to put that recommendation in the form of a motion at this time.
All right, Mr. Mancuso makes a motion. Ms. Jones seconds it. Any questions or discussion from the audience? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, policy DFM, sale of surplus equipment and supplies. That one requires modifications stemming from Act 161, which allows for the ability to trade or participate in a buyback program of student-used computing devices. Policy Review Committee recommends to revise this policy as presented by Forethought, with the additional recommendation by legal counsel to remove paragraphs 2 through 4, which had conflicting information in them. Additionally, verbiage was added at the recommendation of staff regarding who is able to securely erase or render inaccessible all data on the devices. The Policy Committee agreed to recommend to the board this policy with those additional suggestions, and I'd like to put that in the form of motion now.
Okay, Mr. Mancuso makes a motion. Mr. Guillory seconds it. Any discussions or questions from the audience? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. Policy DJE, procurement, is being recommended by Forethought to incorporate FEMA prohibitions from contracting with or awarding bids to any person or company using federal assistance funds if they are debarred or suspended as verified through the system for award management. It is a recommendation of the Policy Review Committee to revise this policy as presented. I make a motion to approve that recommendation at this time.
All right, Mr. Mancuso makes that motion. Ms. Jones seconds it. Any questions or discussion from the audience? All those in favor say aye. Motion carries.
Policy EBBC, emergency or crisis management, was proposed for revision by way of Act 425, which requires this school board to submit a copy of the most recent blueprints and school mapping data of each school building and facility in the school system to law enforcement and other agencies. This is already being done on an annual basis per legal recommendation, where the act did not require the board to adopt a policy of this requirement. The Policy Committee recommends to leave this policy as written. If there are no objections, we can move on to the next policy. Well,
Move on, right? All right, moving on.
okay. All right, Act 409. Act 409 amends and enacts several provisions of Louisiana Revised Statutes in sections 14, 15, and 17, and the Louisiana Children's Code to prohibit any individual convicted of certain offenses listed in LA Revised Statute 15587.1C, or recorded on the Department of Children and Family Services, or DCFS, Central Registry on or after August 1st, 2018, from employment in any capacity by public or non-public schools. Sorry, that was a mouthful, but that was straight out of it. I would like to thank our state lawmakers for codifying such safeguards for our students in both public and non-public schools. I disagree when laws are made in the name of safety, security, or general order in a school, but only apply those requirements to the public school system. This act did leave out one group of individuals that our Policy Review Committee felt should have been included in the safeguards of our students, and that is the role of volunteers. I personally support the use of volunteers, but want the same safeguards applied to this role as to any other school employee. I feel the proposed policy revisions account for these safeguards and encourage the participation of, and also encourages the participation of volunteers in our district. So Act 409 necessitated 3 policies to be revised dealing with the DCFS Central Registry. First one is GBC recruitment. This policy incorporates a review of names recorded on the DCFS registry and prohibition of hiring those individuals. As previously stated, the Policy Review Committee discussed how volunteers would fit into this policy. It was the committee's recommendation that the district staff coordinate with legal counsel to incorporate additional verbiage to include volunteers to the policy. The proposed wording is included in your packets, and I'm going to read it once, but that's it. Under volunteers and chaperones, the provision of this policy concerning criminal backgrounds and DCFS checks shall apply to volunteers. For purposes of this policy, a volunteer is defined as any individual who independently performs services in a role comparable to that of an employee, but without compensation, e.g. a volunteer coach. For purposes of this policy, a volunteer does not include individuals serving solely as chaperones. Chaperones are individuals who, under the supervision of school personnel, assist schools during periodic school-sponsored events of a short duration of time, e.g. school dances. A person wishing to serve as a chaperone shall be reviewed and approved through the applicable school-level approval process. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the Policy Review Committee's recommendation as supplemented by the staff additions for volunteers and chaperones at this time.
All right, Mr. Mancuso has a motion to approve. Ms. Dennis seconds it. Any questions or discussions from the audience? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Hey, one comment on that, for volunteer coaches as we work through this is not the part-time,
Our CSEP coaches,
CSEP.
your after-school coaches who are non-faculty.
okay, yeah, the ones that are paid but are not faculty. So
They go through
these
the
are
same
strictly
checks as-
volunteers, not compensated, coming in just as a strict volunteer. Okay. So, GBN dismissal of employees was also reviewed with Act 409 DCFS required checks added. Similar to the previous policy, volunteers were also discussed, and verbiage to account for volunteers has been added to that one as well. That one is a little bit different, where under volunteers and chaperones, we state the provisions of this policy shall not apply to volunteers or chaperones because volunteers and chaperones may be dismissed at any time and for any reason by the school principal, superintendent, or superintendent designee. I'd like to make a motion to approve the Policy Review Committee's recommendation as supplemented by staff additions for volunteers at this time.
Mr. Mancuso makes a motion. Ms. Jones seconds it. Any questions or discussion? Any from the audience? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, almost done. GBRA, employee conduct. This policy was reviewed and modified to include reporting requirements of a final conviction or plea of no contendere to any criminal offense, excluding traffic offenses, to the school board, also in accordance with Act 409. It also added reporting requirements for any school board employee whose name is recorded on the DCFS registry. Again, the statement on volunteers and chaperones was added here. I won't read it again. So I'd like to put those recommendations in the form of a motion at this time.
Okay, Mr. Mancuso makes that motion. Mr. Guillory seconds it. Any questions or discussion? Any from the audience? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, JGCF, Behavioral Health Support for Students. That one was reviewed based on Act 469 and Louisiana Revised Statute 17:173.1 concerning mental health screenings and mental health assessments rather than screenings, respectively. Although the language proposed by Forethought tracks the language of the legislation, it is confusing as to who would be responsible to pay for the screenings and assessments, whether it would be the parent or the school board. The policy committee reviewed this change and concluded that the financial burden to this district could potentially be extreme. Being that these services were not discussed at our budget workshop, it was decided that the policy committee would recommend to include legal counsel's recommendation to clarify to parents that assessments would be made available as mandated if the parent authorizes the assessment, selects the provider, and makes arrangements for payment of all fees associated with therewith. Mental health screenings were authorized by Act 469, but not mandated. Again, the policy committee recommends to incorporate the language recommended by legal counsel to exercise its discretion not to incorporate screenings until at least our next budget workshop, as this is also not included in our current budget. I would like to put these recommendations in the form of motion at this time.
All right,
I have a
Mr.
question.
Yes, sir?
So,
Wait,
all
let
these
us,
screening-
let us get a motion. Well, you have a motion by Mr. Mancuso, a second by Dr. Wilson. Now, question.
So these screenings, wouldn't they be covered under the family's health insurance program or through Medicare, Medicaid?
I think we're just saying that we don't have it in our budget to cover it, but that would be.
That's
yeah.
my point, is I don't want it to come into our budget.
Right.
Their first option would be, okay,
Yeah,
to
I
use
think
their family medical program.
I would assume that could be an option to the parents, but yeah.
Okay.
All right, any other questions or discussions? Any from the audience? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
That concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mancuso and the Policy Committee. Number 2, the Special Education Advisory Council met on February 2nd, 2026 at 4:30 PM in the Evan Medine Meeting Room at the Central Office Complex in Centerville, Louisiana. Dr. Sanders.
I'll do the report for Ms. McClarity, who was under the weather this evening. So we did meet Monday afternoon. The committee first chose the 3 dates that we're going to have for the upcoming school year. So our SPED advisory meetings will be September 21st, 2026, November 2nd, 2026, and January 25th, 2026. Oh, it is 27 once we get to January. Sorry about that.
January what?
January 25th, 2027. Whew, time's flying. We also discussed Special Olympics, and Ms. McClarity put the message out that she would like everyone to attend and to especially invite the board members. So Special Olympics for the spring will be at the Berwick High School track, and it will begin at 10 a.m. And the date for that at this time is April 17th. And of course, that's weather pending, because every once in a while, our Spring Olympics has to get changed around a few times. The last thing on the agenda for that afternoon was a nice presentation by Bayouland Families Helping Families. She passed out this pamphlet to everyone that was here at the meeting. We actually had an audience Monday evening, and so there were some parents who were able to hear this information and receive the pamphlet. And they do wonderful things for parents of special needs students as far as helping them with advocacy and helping them to understand their IEPs better. And they really do serve as a bridge between districts and families just to kind of help those processes go along. And that was it for our meeting for Special Ed Advisory.
Awesome. Thank you very much. The Maintenance District 1 Committee met prior to this meeting on February 5th, 2026 at 5:00 PM in the Evan Medine Meeting Room at the Central Office Complex in Centerville, Louisiana. Ms. Brent.
Yes, the Maintenance Committee met again earlier this evening, and it was basically to discuss and/or take action regarding Centerville High School baseball field lighting project. It is the recommendation of the committee to share to the board approval of those lights for that school that has a baseball team that cannot play baseball at certain times of the day with a baseball team at night because there are no lights. There has been several donations towards the project, which is a banner for St. Mary Parish School Board, and it is also a savings. In addition to that, we're asking the board to approve the amount of, correct me, $45,000 was the recommendation that the school was asking for the baseball lights. And I'm sharing it with the board. And I would like to know what is your consensus.
And that's your motion, right?
Right.
All right, so Ms. Brent makes a motion to approve District 1 maintenance funds in the amount of $45,000 to go towards the remaining cost of the lights at Centerville Schools baseball field. Do I have a second? Mr. Guillory seconds that. Any questions or discussions from the audience? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Brent. All right, staff reports. Chief Financial Officer's report. Ms. Wazay.
Good evening. We're 7 months into the fiscal year, and our year-to-date sales tax collections from July to January are $4,000 favorable. We collected $2.455 million in January, which is $117,000 over the monthly budget. The financial statement actuals through January 2026 are in your packets, And since I don't have any other significant items to discuss, this concludes my reports. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Superintendent's Report, Dr. Sanders.
Preparation and celebration are the themes of February. Preparing for the 26-27 school year can only mean that time is flying. Students in our high schools have been participating in ACT and Work Keys boot camps in preparation for these significant national exams, and our elementary schools have begun high-dosage tutoring programs to help support literacy and numeracy goals. Schools with the support of our district staff have already begun the scheduling process, and pre-K registration is currently open. Throughout the month of February, we celebrate and honor many important people and events. Schools across the district are honoring Black History Month with ceremonies and assemblies throughout the month. We also recognize career and technical education, the National Future Farmers of America Association, School Resource Officer Appreciation, and National School Counseling Week. National Public Schools Week is marked from February 24th through the 28th. It is an honor and a great adventure to be involved in the public school system. I think all my colleagues would agree that we have many, many programs, organizations, resources, and supports for our students, providing them with a strong background in academics, athletics, and the arts. We have so much to be proud of in our St. Mary Parish Public Schools. We provide opportunity, access, and vision for every student, every day. And of course, it's carnival season, where we will parade our way into our Mardi Gras break from February 16th through the 20th. And in the words of Ms. Farkle, we're gonna let the good times roll.
Thank you very much. You're good? All right. We are going to do our motions for adjournment and adjourn after the resolutions of respect. So can I get a motion to adjourn following that resolution? Mr. Mancuso makes that motion. Ms. Brent seconds it. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. If you are able to, please stand for the resolution of respect.
In memoriam of Alberta Drexler, a retired teacher, Stephen Palumbo, retired English teacher, and William Payton, active custodian, whereas Almighty God, in his infinite wisdom, has taken from our midst, and whereas their untimely death has deprived the St. Mary Parish school system of these beloved colleagues. Now therefore be it resolved that the St. Mary Parish School Board and the people attending this board meeting bow our heads in silent prayer out of respect and extend to their bereaved families our sincere condolences and express the high regard in which we held each of them in life and honor their memory in death. Let us adjourn this meeting out of respect for Alberta Drexler, Stephen Palumbo, and William Payton.